Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today, we have a very important topic to discuss that has been making headlines worldwide: the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestinians in Gaza. In this video, we will cover historical background of conflict, reasons of conflict, importance of Jerusalem, what is Zionism, Hamas and its control over Gaza, key issues and disputes of the war, international involvement in war, and at the last we will end with the conclusion. We'll provide you with an overview of the current situation and try to better understand the challenges that both parties are facing in their attempts to resolve these issues. To kick things off, let's talk about the root cause of this conflict. It dates back to the early 20th century when the territory was under the Ottoman Empire and later British control. Jewish migration to the area and land acquisitions led to tensions with the Palestinian Arab locals. After World War II, the United Nations proposed a two-state solution. But it was rejected by the Arab side, leading to years of fighting and tensions. In recent years, the situation has worsened, with both sides accusing each other of aggression. The key issues that divide them include the status of Jerusalem, Israeli settlements, and Palestinian refugee rights. These are sensitive topics that have caused much debate and anger, and recent confrontations are a result of differences in opinion regarding these issues. Israel argues they are defending against attacks from Hamas, a Palestinian militant group that controls Gaza, while Palestinians claim unfair treatment and discrimination. Other countries, like the United States, have shown support for Israel, while some Arab countries sympathize with the Palestinians. As of now, the situation remains tense and uncertain. The death toll continues to rise, with many innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. The international community is pressuring both sides to come to a peaceful resolution. But achieving a peace agreement seems elusive, as both sides refuse to back down from their demands. To understand the conflict, we need to go back to the early 20th century when the region was under British colonial rule. In 1947, the UN proposed a plan to partition the land into two separate states, accepted by Jewish leaders but opposed by Arab leaders, leading to immediate fighting. In 1948, Israel gained independence, leading to attacks from surrounding Arab nations, including Gaza residents who often lost their homes. Gaza was under Egyptian control until the Six-Day War in 1967, when Israel captured and occupied the territory. Fast forward to the early 1980s when the Palestinian Liberation Organization (PLO) began launching attacks against Israeli targets. Mass protests and the Intifada occurred from 1987 to 1993 and again from 2000 to 2005. Marked by suicide bombings on Israeli soil and Israeli measures to isolate Gaza. Today, Gaza remains a battleground with ongoing conflict, affecting countless civilians and devastating communities. The historical context is crucial to understanding both sides' perspectives and the challenges they face in finding a resolution. One of the central reasons behind the Israel-Palestine conflict is the territorial dispute over land. Israel considers the region its ancestral homeland, while Palestinians argue for self-determination and sovereignty, as they've lived on the land for centuries. This fundamental disagreement over land ownership has been a persistent source of tension. Another significant factor is the religious importance of the land. Both Jews and Muslims hold the land in high religious esteem, exemplified by the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. This site has been a focal point of religious tensions, where disputes over control have often escalated into violence, adding a religious dimension to the conflict. Politics also plays a substantial role in the Israel-Gaza conflict. Israel's government tends to favor a strong stance towards Palestinians, while Hamas, which governs Gaza, seeks to establish an independent Palestinian state. These political differences have deepened divisions in Israeli society and among Palestinians, making a peaceful resolution more challenging. The blockade on Gaza. imposed since 2007, has exacerbated tensions. With severe shortages of essential supplies like food, water, and medical resources, the population in Gaza faces dire humanitarian conditions. This blockade has stoked anger and resentment, contributing to the ongoing conflict. The expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank is another significant source of conflict. Israel views these settlements as strategic, while Palestinians see them as a violation of their rights and a cause of displacement. This issue has led to violent clashes, further complicating any hopes for a peaceful resolution. Jerusalem, a city of immense historical and religious significance, holds a central place in the Israel-Palestine conflict. Its importance spans millennia, with multiple religious traditions contesting its spiritual and cultural legacy. Throughout history, control over Jerusalem has shifted hands between empires and kingdoms. In the modern era, the State of Israel, established in 1948, claimed Jerusalem as its capital, while Palestinians aspire to have East Jerusalem as the capital of their future state. Since the 1967 Six-Day War, Israel has controlled all of Jerusalem and has pursued a policy of expanding settlements in East Jerusalem, a significant point of contention for Palestinians. Jerusalem's immense cultural, religious, and political significance cannot be overstated. It is integral to Judaism, Islam, and Christianity's religious traditions. For Israelis, Jerusalem is the heart and soul of their Jewish identity, while Palestinians view their claim to the city as a reflection of their deep historical roots in the region. The expansion of Israeli settlements in East Jerusalem complicates the conflict further. These settlements are widely considered illegal by most governments and international bodies. The constant expansion has resulted in Palestinians being pushed out of their homes, leading to protests and confrontations, heightening tensions in the region. The role of the United States is another layer of complexity in the conflict. The US has long been a close ally of Israel, recognizing Jerusalem as its capital. The relocation of the US Embassy to Jerusalem in 2018 was viewed by Palestinians as a betrayal of their cause and raised doubts about the US's ability to mediate between the two sides. Jerusalem holds profound significance for Muslims, rooted in Islamic history, tradition, and religious belief. Here are several key aspects that highlight the city's importance for the Muslim community. First and foremost, Jerusalem is home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holiest site in Islam. Adjacent to it stands the Dome of the Rock, a prominent Islamic shrine. These sacred structures are believed to be the locations from which the Prophet Muhammad embarked on his miraculous night journey, Isra and Miraj, to the heavens, a pivotal event in Islamic tradition. Consequently, they are considered among the most sacred places in Islam. In the early years of Islam, Muslims faced Jerusalem as their Qibla, the direction in which they prayed. It was only later that the Qibla was changed to face the Kaaba in Mecca. The initial significance of Jerusalem as the Qibla underscores its historical importance in the development of Islamic practice. Jerusalem is closely associated with numerous prophets in Islamic tradition, including Prophet Ibrahim, Abraham, Prophet Dawood, David, and Prophet Solomon. Islamic belief holds that these prophets had a presence in the region, and their stories are mentioned in the Quran, further elevating Jerusalem's spiritual significance. Islamic tradition teaches of various miraculous events in Jerusalem. Among them is the night journey, Isra and Miraj, of the Prophet Muhammad, during which he is believed to have ascended to the heavens from Jerusalem. Muslims commemorate this significant event during the annual holiday of Laylat al-Miraj. Jerusalem is revered as the final resting place of several important figures in Islamic history, including Prophet Sulaiman and many companions of the Prophet Muhammad. These burial sites hold immense religious significance for Muslims and attract pilgrims from around the world. Beyond its historical and religious significance, Jerusalem is a place of deep spiritual importance for Muslims. Pilgrims and visitors come to the city to pray, reflect, and seek spiritual growth at its holy sites. The presence of these sites fosters a profound spiritual connection among Muslims globally. Jerusalem holds an unparalleled significance for Jews, rooted in a rich tapestry of historical, religious, and cultural reasons. It's often referred to as the eternal capital of the Jewish people. Here's why Jerusalem is so vital for Jews. Jerusalem is deeply ingrained in Jewish religious tradition. It's mentioned extensively in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, and is considered a sacred city for Jews. It served as the site of both the first and second temples, the central places of worship in ancient Judaism. The Western Wall, a remnant of the Second Temple, stands as one of the holiest sites in Judaism, attracting Jewish worshippers from all corners of the globe. Jerusalem stands as the historical and cultural epicenter of Judaism. It was once the capital of King David and the city of King Solomon's temple. Throughout millennia, it has been a focal point of Jewish life, bearing witness to countless historical events that have shaped Jewish history, both triumphant and tragic. Many Jews share a profound spiritual connection to Jerusalem. The city is frequently invoked in Jewish prayers, and Jews worldwide turn towards Jerusalem during their worship, symbolizing their enduring bond with the city. In Jewish tradition, Jerusalem is an integral part of the promised land that God bestowed upon the Jewish people. This theological belief reinforces its significance as a homeland for Jews. Jerusalem also holds a special place in Jewish eschatology, the study of end times. Jewish tradition holds that it will be the site of the coming of the Messiah and the realization of a future era of peace and redemption. The city's rich cultural and historical heritage is interwoven with Jewish identity. Jerusalem is home to numerous Jewish traditions, rituals, and customs that have been passed down through generations, contributing to a sense of continuity and heritage. Jerusalem serves as a powerful symbol of unity among Jews worldwide. It brings together Jews of diverse backgrounds and beliefs, acting as a unifying force for Jewish identity. The Zionist movement, with its goal of establishing a Jewish homeland, drew deep inspiration from the idea of returning to Zion, a biblical term for Jerusalem and the land of Israel. The establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 and its recognition of Jerusalem as its capital further solidified the city's significance in modern Jewish identity. The importance of Jerusalem to Jews is a multifaceted story of faith, history, culture, and identity that continues to resonate deeply within the global Jewish community. To truly comprehend the ongoing Israel-Palestine conflict, it's essential to understand the concept of Zionism and why it sparks controversy. So, what exactly is Zionism, and what are the issues surrounding it? Zionism traces its history back to the late 19th century when Theodor Herzl, a Jewish journalist, published The Jewish State, proposing the establishment of a Jewish homeland. Herzl believed that a Jewish state was a solution to widespread antisemitism in Europe. The term Zionism itself is derived from Zion, the hill in Jerusalem where the Jewish temple once stood. Zionism gained support among Jews worldwide, and in 1917, the British government expressed its support for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people in the Balfour Declaration. However, this movement faced opposition from Arab Palestinians who saw it as their displacement from their homeland and feared becoming a minority in their own country. These tensions led to conflicts and wars in the region that persist to this day. Zionism can be interpreted differently depending on one's perspective. Some view it as a national liberation movement, aiming to provide a safe haven for Jewish people. Others see it as a colonialist project, leading to the displacement of Palestinians. Debates also arise over whether Zionism should be secular or religious, and how much emphasis should be placed on cultural and historical ties to the land. The issue of Zionism remains highly controversial, with various viewpoints. Supporters argue that the Jewish people have a right to their ancestral homeland and emphasize Israel's democratic values, promoting human rights, freedom of speech, and diversity. On the other hand, critics of Zionism contend that it has resulted in the displacement and marginalization of the Palestinian people, leading to human rights violations such as restrictions on movement, water and resource rights, home demolitions, and law enforcement practices that many find oppressive. The current situation in Israel-Palestine is intricate, marked by numerous challenges that must be addressed for lasting peace. Some advocate for a two-state solution, establishing an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel with Jerusalem as a shared capital. Others propose a one-state solution, where Jews and Palestinians would have equal rights in a democratic, binational state. Achieving any of these solutions requires significant efforts and consensus from both sides. To gain a more comprehensive understanding of the ongoing conflicts and tensions in the Middle East, it's crucial to examine the history and political landscape that led to the formation of Hamas and its subsequent rise to power in Gaza. So, what are the origins and trajectory of Hamas? The roots of Hamas can be traced back to the Muslim Brotherhood, a Sunni Islamist movement originating in Egypt during the 1920s. This movement eventually spread to Palestine, where it gained popularity among the disenfranchised Palestinian refugee population. In the late 1980s, the Muslim Brotherhood splintered in Palestine, giving rise to a new group known as Hamas, short for Harkat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya, meaning the Islamic Resistance Movement. Hamas was founded in 1987, coinciding with the start of the First Intifada, a Palestinian uprising against the Israeli occupation of Gaza and the West Bank. Hamas emerged out of the need for a unified, militant Palestinian opposition movement to counter the Israeli military presence in the region. It adopted a militant stance and became associated with tactics such as suicide bombings and violence against Israeli civilians, actions that garnered international condemnation. Despite its militant reputation, Hamas gained widespread acceptance among the Palestinian population. Many Palestinians saw the group as a symbol of resistance against Israeli oppression. Additionally, Hamas provided critical social welfare services, including health clinics, schools, and food distribution centers. In 2006, Hamas entered the political arena, contesting the Palestinian legislative elections and securing a parliamentary majority. This electoral victory marked a significant turning point, as it led to political instability in the region and heightened tensions between Hamas and the more moderate Fatah party. The year 2007 witnessed a pivotal moment when Hamas, after months of fighting, staged a coup and seized control over Gaza. This event effectively divided the Palestinian territories, with Hamas governing Gaza and Fatah retaining control over the West Bank. Since 2007, Hamas has maintained its rule over Gaza, using its military wing to enforce its authority and suppress rival factions. The group has implemented Sharia law and restricted political dissent and freedom of speech. Additionally, Hamas has faced criticism for targeting Israeli civilians and using Gazans as human shields during conflicts with Israel. The enduring conflict between Israel and Palestine, particularly the recent fighting in Gaza, has captured international attention. To shed light on the root causes of this conflict, let's delve into the critical issues and disputes that continue to fuel tensions. At the heart of the Israel-Palestine conflict is the status of Jerusalem. Both Israelis and Palestinians lay claim to this ancient city as their capital, and it holds sacred significance for both Jews and Muslims. Recent violence was triggered by clashes between Israeli police and Palestinian demonstrators in Jerusalem, illustrating the city's profound symbolism and its potential to ignite tensions. Another major issue is the displacement of Palestinians from their homes, often to accommodate Israeli settlements in occupied territories. This long-standing practice has generated deep resentment among Palestinians who feel a profound loss of their homeland. Recent fighting in Gaza was further fueled by the eviction of Palestinian families from the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood in East Jerusalem. The blockade of Gaza by Israel and Egypt has been a persistent source of contention. It has severely restricted access to basic necessities such as food, water, and medical supplies for Palestinians in Gaza, leading to high levels of poverty and unemployment. Recent hostilities in Gaza were sparked by rocket attacks by Hamas, a response to police clashes in Jerusalem and the ongoing blockade. The quest for Palestinian statehood has further complicated the conflict. Palestinians seek a state with East Jerusalem as its capital, while Israel desires full control of Jerusalem as its capital. Recent events underscore the urgent need for a peaceful resolution, including the recognition of a Palestinian state. External powers have played a significant role in exacerbating the conflict. The United States has been a key player, providing military aid to Israel and mediating peace talks. Other nations, such as Iran and Saudi Arabia, have also been involved, offering support to different factions. The recent fighting in Gaza underscores the importance of international diplomacy in resolving the conflict. The Israel-Palestine conflict has long captured international attention, with various countries and organizations becoming involved in different capacities. Let's explore the reasons behind this international engagement and the motives driving these players. The United States has been a central international player in the Israel-Palestine conflict. From the conflict's inception, the US has played a significant role in mediating peace talks and negotiations. Its involvement is rooted in a foreign policy objective of promoting democracy and peace in the Middle East. Additionally, the US views itself as one of Israel's closest allies, solidifying this relationship with substantial military aid to Israel. The United Nations has also been actively involved through its peacekeeping mission. The UN's primary objectives include promoting peacekeeping efforts, providing humanitarian aid to those affected by the conflict, and facilitating dialogue for long-term reconciliation. The European Union, as a key player, seeks to strike a balance between its support for Israel and its perceived impartiality in the conflict. The EU aims to prevent the conflict from spilling beyond the Israel-Palestine borders. It has participated in peace talks and recently become more vocal in criticizing Israel's human rights abuses. Russia has historically supported Palestine and has made efforts to facilitate peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians. Russia's interest in the conflict is driven by a desire to assert its influence in the Middle East and to counterbalance the global leadership position of the United States. China's involvement in the conflict is primarily motivated by economic interests. The country has invested in establishing a high-tech zone in the Palestinian territories and has been increasing its economic activities in the region. In the wake of the recent conflict between Israel and Palestine, it's clear that the international community plays a pivotal role in shaping the dynamics of the ongoing conflict. The involvement of various countries and organizations highlights the complexity and importance of this enduring issue. The United States, with its historical alliance with Israel and foreign policy objectives, has taken a central role in mediating peace talks and providing support to Israel. The United Nations contributes to peacekeeping and humanitarian efforts, seeking to alleviate the suffering of those affected by the conflict. The European Union endeavors to balance its support for Israel with its commitment to impartiality, emphasizing the prevention of the conflict's escalation. Russia, in its role, aims to assert influence in the Middle East while advocating for peace negotiations. Meanwhile, China's economic interests drive its involvement, with investments in Palestinian territories and increasing economic activities in the region. The Israel-Palestine conflict remains a challenging and deeply rooted issue, with no easy solutions. International engagement, with its diverse motives and strategies, reflects the intricacies of the situation. As the world continues to watch and hope for a peaceful resolution, it is clear that addressing the core issues, such as Jerusalem's status, displacement, blockades, statehood, and the role of external powers, is crucial to finding a path toward lasting peace in the Middle East. We'll keep a close eye on developments in the region and hope for a future where both Israelis and Palestinians can coexist in peace, security, and prosperity. Thank you for joining us on this journey to better understand the complexities of the Israel-Palestine conflict.